All right, well, we will go through, I'll just read it. This meeting is being held in council chambers, which are open to public attendance and participation. Meeting is also being live streamed for public viewing. Wait a minute. Do we need to? Yeah, we do. Email comments sent and received by city clerk 24 hours before the meeting were distributed to city council prior to the meeting. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Harris.
Here.
Vice Mayor Shaw.
Here.
Councilman Boomgarden. Councilmember Kirchner.
Present.
Councilmember Pasquale.
Here.
And we have closed session items.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Would you like me to do the announcements?
Sure.
We have one
Well,
item.
will that make you?
I think it'll be fine, but if you hear me start coughing and I faint or something, just throw a blanket on top of me or something.
I can read it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I should be good. Thank you. We have one item for closed session this evening. We have a conference with labor negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. The agency designated representatives are Diana Langley, City Manager, Natalie Springer, Human Resources Director, Ann Gillen, I always mispronounce your name, Ann, sorry about that. Community Services Director, Spencer Morrison, Finance Director, Ben Moody, Public Works and Development Services Director, Brian Baker, Police Chief, Jesse Alexander, Fire Chief. The employee organizations are Yuba City Police Officers, Police Sergeants, Yuba City Firefighters, Local 3793, Yuba City Fire Management, First Level Managers, Mid-Managers, Police Sworn Mid-Managers, and Public Employees, Local Number 1. The unrepresented employees are confidential employees, executive services employees. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no member of the public present, we will adjourn to closed session and discuss all these aforementioned items. All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's meeting. I got to read this real quick. This meeting is being held in the council chambers, which are open for public attendance and participation. The meeting will also be live streamed for public viewing, but not participation at the link identified in the agenda. Email comments sent and received by the city clerk at least 24 hours before the meeting were distributed to the city council prior to the meeting. May I have roll call, please?
Mayor Harris.
Here.
Vice Mayor Shaw.
Here.
Councilmember Boomgarden.
Here.
Councilmember Kirchner.
Here.
Councilmember Pasquale.
Here.
All right, if everybody could please stand, we're going to have an invocation by Pastor Ciciola from Calvary Christian Center, followed by a pledge of allegiance led by Councilmember Kirchner.
Let us pray. Father, thank you for the grace you bestowed upon us in this great nation, our state, and here in our local community, Yuba City, California. Thank you for the reminder that we are your servants and we serve the needs of the people of our community. I thank you for those who serve as the elected City Council of Yuba City, California. And as they begin their deliberations, may it please you to grant our requests. Your prophet said, "O people, the Lord has told us what is good, and this is what he requires of us, to do what is right, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God." So, Father, I pray for the City Council members of Yuba City, California, in the execution of their duties tonight, that they will act fairly, humanely, and with godly wisdom. Grant each the gift of wisdom, not from the cultural trends of the day, but wisdom from you, our Creator, that they will govern fairly and do what is right in your sight, that they'll be sensitive to put the people's needs above their own, and that you will protect our city council members and their families. Father, in all the decisions rendered in the city council meeting tonight, may they be in the best interests of everyone in our community for its future development and expansion of business and great career opportunities with good paying jobs. In the name of your strong Son, Jesus. Amen.
Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Mr. City Attorney, can you please report on any closed session items?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There was no reportable action taken in closed session.
Thank you. Do we have any agenda modifications? Nope. All right, so on to number 1, ceremonial presentations. I'd like to offer a welcome to Beale Air Force Base Installation and Wing Commander Colonel Keagan McLeese. I have as you can probably imagine, somebody of his notoriety has a resume a mile long, all the things he did. So we have a few highlights. Very impressive. Colonel Keagan L. McLeese is the installation commander and the 9th Reconnaissance Wing Commander at Beale Air Force Base, California. He is responsible for approximately 7,000 military, civilian, and contractor personnel and the entire Air Force high-altitude reconnaissance fleet of U-2 Dragon Lady aircraft. The 9th Reconnaissance Wing is comprised of 4 groups and 4 overseas operating locations executing worldwide missions in support of all 6 geographic combatant commanders. Colonel McLeese entered the U.S. Air Force in 1998 and is a graduate of the 2002 graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy in Colorado and has over 22 years of active service. He attended Joint Specialized Undergraduate Pilot Training at Moody Air Force Base, Georgia, and Columbus Air Force Base, Mississippi, where he earned his wings in 2003. Colonel McLeese's career includes multiple operational flying assignments in several locations across the country. As an F-15C and F-22 pilot, Colonel McLeese has deployed 5 times in support of U.S. Indo-Pacific Command Theater security packages. He also led U.S. Joint Air and Space Strategy Development for Middle East, including the war against Islamic State of Iraq, in operations Inherent Resolve and Resolute Support. Colonel McLeese is a command pilot with over 2,200 flying hours in the T-6, F-15C, F-22, T-38, and F-35A. A summary of his joint assignments include Strategy Plans Division Chief at the 609th Air Operations Center in Qatar as a major, a Senior Air Force Advisor of Force Development with the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, Pentagon, Washington, D.C. as a colonel. Need some water. Some, I'm sure, these are just a few of the awards and decorations. Defense Superior Service Medal. He's earned a Legion of Merit Award, Meritorious Service Medal with 3 oak leaf clusters, Air Force, and an Air Force Commendation Medal. Prior to his current position, the colonel was the Deputy Commander of the 56th Fighter Wing at Luke Air Force Base, Arizona. And now we are privileged to have Colonel Keagan McLeese, my recent new friend and commander of our beloved Beale Air Force Base, speak before you today. Welcome.
Oh, there we go. All right. Well, I'll continue talking. We grew up in small farming communities with about 2,000 people in our town with a flashing red light, and that was it. No stoplights, and the nearest Walmart was the biggest happening place, and that was about a 30-minute drive. So we are used to a small town, and I will tell you, farm towns is where our heart's at, and so when we came here, we feel like home, and I mean that genuinely. We are really excited to be here to get to do this. And so what I'll share with you, I thought you guys know Beale Air Force Base well. I mean, you've lived around here. I've lived here much shorter of a period of time than any of you. And so it would be foolish for me to tell you about Beale. But what I'd like to tell you about is what we're doing at Beale right now. And then also kind of what the future of Beale, as I see it, is looking like in my expected about 2 years of command that I'll get to have here. And then what maybe it might even look like into the future. And I thought that might be kind of enjoyable to hear. So what I will say is I use a mantra of the first and foremost priority of mine is to take care of the family. So obviously having a family of 6 myself, it's near and dear to my heart to make sure family's well taken care of. But also you guys know this, we have a lot of single airmen. Actually, probably half or more are actually single airmen. And I want them to feel like they're a part of the family as well. And what I mean by that is I want them to feel like who they work with is their family. And so that I always make the joke that, you know, if you got a brother or a sister, you don't always get along with your brother or sister, just like you may not get along with your coworkers, but you can at least see eye to eye in the fact that you're family and take care of each other, even if you don't see eye to eye on everything. And so that's a family aspect. But here, near and dear to my heart, is the community. The majority of our airmen of Beale live in your communities. And so what I would say there is I want them to engage with you as family, whether that be in the hobbies and clubs and churches that they participate in around here. And then vice versa, please make sure that you're reaching out to them. I know you love them. I hear it from every single person I talk to in Yuba City. They absolutely love airmen. You love airmen. And so that's not lost on me. And I treat that as a family aspect. So that's kind of the overarching thought that I have, is to take care of the family. And I want to make sure that I am at every single opportunity that I can in the community to make that a priority for us. But where we're at and where we're going, I like to talk to military terms, and I'll help explain those, is deploy, redeploy, reconstitute. When I talk about deploying, that's near and dear to our heart right now. We actually have about 185 airmen that Chief Creek, my wing command chief, and I are going to lead, and we're going to be going over to the Middle East. We're going to leave there at the end of next month, and we're going to be gone for about 6 months. The military, particularly the Air Force, is moving to a construct of the way we deploy. We're changing it. In the past, in the global war on terror, the way we used to deploy would be, I want a medic to go out to this Middle East base. I want a security forces defender to go to this Middle East base, and I want a maintainer to go to this base. It would be just one person that we need, one person we need, and we had big built-up bases that we had built up over the course of decades there in the Middle East, and we employed out of there. We aren't going to have that fortunate aspect in great power competition, particularly as we have declared that China is our pacing threat. And so in the Indo-Pacific, what we have to do is we have to take a new model. We have to take an approach where we will have an air operations center that maybe, say, is in Hawaii, but then you're going to have wings like ours that are going to be at the hub driving the fight. And then you're going to have other bases where the airplanes are, and you're going to have those at what we call spokes. So you have a hub and spokes that are controlling the airplanes. So as we have our lines of communication cut and can't talk to each other, we still have the ability to employ from disparate locations, disaggregated locations. And so that's the way we're looking going forward. It's the way of fighting wars in the future, and at least presenting combat forces. And so what we're doing now is it's a baby step crawl, walk, run approach. So where one day, we will uproot as a wing, we will go and we will employ as a wing, and we will return. In the meantime, as we go to that model that's about 10 years out, what we're doing is an expeditionary air base wing construct. And so we, the 185 of us, will go to a base in the Middle East, and we will lead it for about 6 months. And we'll have other units come in that we will lead and support in a leadership role in order to present combat forces over in that region. So we're deploying. And in the meantime, back home, our families will be here. That's where I see all of y'all coming in with opportunities to support our families, right? My wife, my 3 kids are going to be relying on the support of all y'all to help out in areas, right? And I know that you are going to be reaching out. We have a lot of families that are going to be left behind in that scenario for 6 months until we get back sometime, hopefully, Lord willing, in April. And by the way, I love the prayer. Micah 6:8 is a verse that's near and dear to my heart. So thanks for that. Really appreciated that prayer. And so what I'd say then is we will come back in April and redeploy. Meantime, what's going to happen is we still have U-2s that are going to be on a constant rotational basis, forward deployed at our 3 operating locations around the globe, doing 24/7 high altitude reconnaissance for our nation's interests. And so we're going to continue to do that. So we are spreading ourselves very thin right now. And so if you have any If you see weaknesses in our support agencies on base, our base defenders who are defending the gates, if you have gate closures and things like that between the dates of basically the end of September until middle of April, that's because we're stretched thin. So I appreciate your patience and understanding with us, as our communications will be a little slower during that time, and our just support on base will be a little bit more reduced. So then we'll come back, and when we come back, we're going to redeploy. But something that we're doing right now at Beale is the redeployment of the U2 program. And so that means the divestment of the U2 has been signed off on by the Secretary of the Air Force, by Congress, by the Chief of Staff of the Air Force. So we are moving out on the divestment of the U2, and it all falls on Beale. We are the only ones who have, you as a community are the only ones who have the U2 around the globe that employs that asset. And so we're going to be the only ones relied upon to divest that asset. And we're going to do that with honor, honoring the legacy and honoring the heritage of those who've gone before us and the shoulders of the giants that we stand on. And so we're having a lot of different things. One of those will be in June, the very beginning of June. We'll have our air show, and we're going to honor the U2 in particular, honor the Dragon Lady because it deserves to be honored. And so we're going to have a big celebration of high altitude reconnaissance there. And so that's something we're going to be focused on. And then we're also going to be reconstituting. Reconstituting is a fancy word, but we use it in the military to mean like you're come back and you need to kind of regroup. And we're going to be regrouping a little bit. We're going to be changing how we have our wing structured there. And our wing structure is going to go from just the 9th Reconnaissance Wing Commander being in charge of the whole entire installation. Well, we're going to end up breaking that up to reach that model that I talked about of the run phase 10 years from now, where we're going to deploy out as a wing and redeploy. In order to adhere to that model, we have to have a wing commander that just runs the installation. That way you can have a mission commander, which would be called the 9th Reconnaissance Wing Commander, that just focuses on the mission aspect, while the installation commander focuses on the base. So you'll have a 9th Air Base Wing that'll be stood up probably sometime end of 25, beginning of 26. And you'll still have the 9th Reconnaissance Wing that'll be just focused on the mission instead of both base and mission. And so we're going to be reconstituting into that. And so then a community like yours, I would like to think, would say, so the U2's gone. And then what? Right? You don't want to just hear, well, the 940th flies the KC-135. You're going to say, yeah, but they've done that for a long time. So I will tantalize your taste buds with something. I think that Beale is very well suited to what's called the Collaborative Combat Aircraft. We use acronyms, right? CCAs. I'm a fighter pilot by trade, like you heard. And so the thing is whenever you are a fighter pilot, you are trained up. They spend millions of dollars to train each one of us. They spend billions of dollars on our aircraft. They spend millions of dollars on the gas that gets us over there, the tanker support. And so you'd go into a combat area, and then guess what? You've only got, in an F-22, you've only got 6 radar missiles, 2 heat-seeking missiles, and the gun. So that's about 9 targets that you can go after max. My policeman, my dad was an Illinois State policeman, by the way, so I'm a son of a cop. But I will tell you, you will recognize that your magazines that you have, right? Your ammo magazines are really important, right? You want to have plenty of ammo. Well, I'm going over there in an F-22 and I've only got 9 shots to take. You got more shots than that in your 9mm, right? And so what I want to get at there is we have a limited magazine whenever we get over there. So what we want to do is we want to increase our magazine. We want to increase our sensors. We want to increase the ability to present problem sets to the enemy of having many aircraft, not just one fighter aircraft. That's where CCAs come in, Collaborative Combat Aircraft. They're going to be unmanned. They're going to be stealthy. They're going to have sensors on them that are exquisite. They're going to have munitions on board. That increases our magazine. And they're going to have other capabilities that they bring. I think, and I think you all will think this too, Beale is very well suited, actually I say ideally suited, for housing collaborative combat aircraft. That is not decisional yet. That is very pre-decisional, but it's something that I'm pushing for, and I think that you as a community would love to see, because I think that has a great impact on the community. It keeps airmen at Beale Air Force Base, and it grows our economic impact into your community, and allows us to stay a synergistic, symbiotic relationship that we've always had for decades, just taking a new form. And so I think that is what's next. If you want to know what's next, that's what I will tell you I think is the answer. And so hopefully that whets the appetite for what's to come. Lets you know what we're doing, and lets you know also why you're not going to see me and Chief Creek until probably spring of next year, because we're going to be off over in the Middle East presenting combat power. So I don't know if I'm supposed to turn it over for any Q&A or what I'm supposed to do here with my hands, but I genuinely appreciate the opportunity to be an advocate for Beal. The relationship that we have with Yuba City is unquestionably awesome, and I want to make it as best as I can possibly make it through Beal and everything that we bring to Yuba City and all that you bring to us. I want to increase this relationship any way, shape, or form. So thanks a lot, Mr. Mayor, for allowing me to have this voice.
Oh, absolutely. It's our honor as well. Thank you for the wonderful bit of information. It's so nice to hear directly from your mouth to our ears, that everything that's going on out there. Loads of respect. We definitely appreciate it. I was wondering if members of the council would care to say a few words to the Colonel?
Had a brief conversation with the Colonel. He brings a high dose of enthusiasm, and it's good to hear. We love Beal. Here in Yuba City, you'll hear that from all of us. And anything that we can do to support while you're gone, please. We've got all kinds of folks that have reached out to the base. You've got lots of conduits, and we'd be more than happy to try to do whatever we can. Thank you.
I know that offer is genuine. Thanks. Thanks, Mark.
Colonel, thank you again for being here. And to echo Mark's sentiment, we love Beal. We've talked about it ourselves. Anything that this community can do to help support loved ones that are still going to be here while you're gone. Please convey the message back from this city that we are here to stand with them and support them in any way we can. And we look forward to the great things ahead. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Gentlemen?
Through the mayor. Thank you for that presentation, Colonel, and welcome. For somebody who was born at Beal back when they did that, it does have a. They changed the hospital out there.
Do everything else but that.
It was an Army base then, right?
Right.
At least it wasn't a zoo.
Welcome to Yuba City.
Thanks for not giving me as hard of a time.
To the mayor, welcome, sir. And the only thing I have is to say to you is be safe.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. Thank you very
I'd
much.
like to invite, if you don't mind, Colonel, may I ask you and Chief Creek to come down for a quick photo op with us, and
Absolutely,
then
count on
we will.
it. Yeah,
Well, thank you.
bet.
Thank you so much. Always good. Speaking of good and a good milestone, we have a retirement proclamation here for Sergeant Bill Williams. Police Sergeant Bill Williams, come on down. Laura Nicholson also representing Senator Neelio, Isabella Morgan, and representing Assemblyman Gallagher and David Morgan from Congressman Lamalfa. So I can come down front and center here. Let's do this. Big deal here. Okay, I'm going to read this here for Sergeant Bill Williams. He began his law enforcement career in 1997 with the Santa Rosa Police Department and was hired as a police officer by the city of Yuba City on December 17th, 2003. He has held the positions of police officer, patrol sergeant, and traffic sergeant. Hoorah, all of that. with lateral assignments as a motor officer, SWAT team operator, school resource officer, range master, chaplain liaison, and wellness program coordinator. Sergeant Williams has been recognized by the public, peers, and supervisors with numerous awards and commendations for his exemplary professional performance. He exemplifies the qualities of a servant leader and mentor. Bill has received 3 Chiefs Unit of the Year awards, 2 Police Achievement Awards, 5 Police Fitness Awards, 2 Police Unit Commendations, the Police Individual Commendation Award, the Police Commendation Medal, and the Department's Spirit Award. Bill Williams also served his country in the United States Air Force, active duty from January 1993 to December 1996, and as a reserve from 1997 to 2018. He returned to active duty for over a year due to 9/11, serving in Iraq during Operation Enduring Freedom. Sergeant Williams took an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution, an oath he never broke. He kept faith with the public he so honorably served for more than 25 years. So now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Sean Harris, Mayor of the City of Yuba City, and on behalf of the entire council and citizens we serve, do hereby thank Sergeant Bill Williams for his service, both military and civilian, and congratulate him on the occasion of his honorable retirement from the law enforcement service. We wish Sergeant Williams the very best in his future. That's awesome. Give him a hand.
Obviously, I don't really like being up here right now in front of all these people, but I really want to say thanks to those who have made my careers, both careers, successful. First and foremost is the organization of the City of Yuba City. It is staffed by some of the best people that I've worked with, and I've worked for multiple agencies in California. And I've always considered Yuba City my home, and that's why I'm retiring from here. Second is the community of the Yuba City. The folks standing out, or the folks sitting in the chairs right now, the reason I did what I did for so long is because of you. This is an exceptional community, and I think that if this community and the city work together, there's nothing that can't be accomplished in the Yuba Sutter area. And I hope that after my retirement, that stays true, and I know it will stay true. But most importantly for me, is the real reason I'm standing up here today that I made it is because my wife. That's right. So we've been married for 28 years. It'll be 29 years in February. I'm retiring with 25 years in law enforcement. She has been with me every step of the way, through the good times and the bad times, and without her, I would have never made it. So thank you, honey. I love you. Neither one of us like to be the...
They were from the first step and now the last one, right? Right. You're good to go. Here we go. All right. What we also typically do, PD, come on down, council can get in the back, and we'll go from there. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll shut up.
Joke's good. On behalf of Senator Nilo and Assemblyman Gallagher, I'm going to switch sides. Sure. We would like to present to you this joint resolution from the California State Legislature recognizing the details. Oh, thank you. Recognizing those details that Mayor Harris described, but also we know, and as you've pointed out, there's so much more that goes into your law enforcement career, your military career, the safety that you provide to us, the citizens of the community, and for that we are particularly thankful. We congratulate you and we wish you all the best in your retirement. And you can have that.
It's hard to go last, so I appreciate that. David with Congressman Doug LaMalfa's office, here to present this special congressional certificate to Sergeant Williams. Thank you for your military service. Thank you for your service in defending our community. There's a lot of folks out there that don't appreciate our law enforcement. We see that a lot, but we really appreciate everything that you've done. Every call that you've had, every assistance that you've provided, we appreciate that. And so on behalf of the First District, the Fighting First, as Doug calls us, Yuba City, and everybody here, we really appreciate everything that you've done, providing, giving out your time and energy. There's numerous days that you've been out there, overtime, many, many days, long nights, and we greatly appreciate that, and we wish you all the best in your retirement. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, now, PD, come on down. All right, we're going on to item number 3, public communication, appearance of interested citizens. You are welcome and encouraged to participate in this meeting. Public comment is taken on action items appearing on the consent calendar or business items on the agenda when they are called. Public comment on any other items within the scope of the city's jurisdiction, including items not listed on the agenda, will be considered at this time. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Members of the public submitting written requests at least 24 hours prior to the meeting will be allotted 5 minutes to comment per speaker. Repetitive comments may be limited, and large groups are encouraged to select representatives to express the opinions of the group. Okay, let's see here, 1 second. All right, do we have any comments from the public on consent calendar items 4 through 13? No?
Well, you got one.
What's that?
I say you got one.
All right, John, how are you?
I'm fine. John Boyer, 1527 Meadowlark Way, Yuba City. And I'd just like to tell you that the senior center new bingo equipment is up and running. And it was pretty tough thing to get done, but I want to thank some people that really contributed in getting this thing done. And first off, the city council for approving it. And I'd like to thank Ann and Jessica and Brian and his crew And I'm telling you, the guys, the electricians and the IT that put up with me for a week, all my changes, you know, every little change. But it was really great, and I appreciate all of them. Did a good job. Thank you. And we've been getting 105 people, 100 people. Doing good.
That's great. That's great. I have speaker cards that would apply under this time. So we have Kathy Gregg is up regarding San Brandon Park safety.
Oh, okay. Do I need to repeat?
No, you're good.
Okay. I just want to thank you for letting me speak. I've lived here about 34 years, and I'm here to talk about San Brandon Park and concerns we have, but also good things we have, all right? I did write an email last week just to the county council, and I really appreciate, I had Councilman Pasquale, he reached out to me, as well as my councilman, Dave Shaw, and I do appreciate that. And we talked a little bit about what's going on, and then I also got a phone call from Brian Baker, or I'm not sure, just today, and I really appreciate talking with him about what they're trying to do. And so the San Brandon Park has just had so many great improvements, and it's really a wonderful park. The toys there are wonderful. I just started pickleball a couple months ago. Loving it. I wish we had more courts. And weather's starting to get not too hot, and so it's getting really crowded, but we're loving it. Just a lot of great amenities. The concern, of course, is the problems with people at the park. It's scary just to walk to the pickleball courts just by myself. I want to make sure that my friends are there. I want to make sure somebody's walking in with me, because there are just people hanging out, whether they're parked there, they've got trash all over the place. It's just just doesn't feel safe. And I know that we've got our hands tied a lot because it is a public community park, and everybody has the right to be in the community park. I understand that. I would just like to think that we could do more. They're leaving debris, they're pitching lean-tos and tents, they're bathing in the drinking fountains, they're smoking cigarettes and other things that I can smell. And I know we got a hold of the list of calls for police, and I know a lot of drugs are going on there. We've got the school right next door, so there are huge concerns there. And I don't even want to take my grandson there at this point. And it makes me sad. We've got lots of great public funds being spent, and I would like to be able to use them. So my hope is that we could increase patrol, up the enforcement, maybe even trash fines. I mean, they're $1,000 a pop. That's going to be a big deal. Yeah, I know they're not going to have the money to pay it, but it could be a deterrent for them to at least not do it, right? Even if we had the police there patrolling more often, engaging with the public on a regular basis is what we were hoping. Is that my time? Okay, I talk a lot. I'm sorry. But I want to thank you very much, and I hope that we can work it through to try and come up with some resolutions.
Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it and agree with you. Next would be Sharon Smith.
Thank you, council members. I appreciate the time that you're giving me to speak. I too am here as I have concerns about the parks here. I've lived here.
False alarm. Keep going. False alarm.
I actually came from Beale Air Force Base, so I've been here and incredible amount of time. I lived out at Beale over 20 years, and then I've been in this city for 34 years. And I've taken my grandkids to some wonderful parks here in the city. But recently, I've started playing pickleball with some of my friends at Sam Brannan Park. And I'm here actually because of an incident that happened not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. There was what we weren't sure was a gunshot. And we were just 4 ladies on the court just trying to play a game. And we were scared for our lives for a little bit. And we called 911, and people could overhear us in the park, and they threatened us and told us that certain people get dead. I won't say because it was not good language. But I'm just here to, first of all, make you aware that we're concerned about that. We love our parks, and we want to be able to take our children there and play on the playground and have picnics there and play pickleball, meet new people. And we're in a quandary right now as to what to do to solve these problems. And it is scary to go there, and it's not nice to be scared of your own parks. And we've talked to quite a few people that feel the same way. And so somebody has to come and speak up and say that there are concerns about these things. So we wanted just to share that with you so that maybe we can all start getting our thoughts together and start thinking about what can we do to take our parks back and make them those wonderful places that we used to go to take our children and have picnics and play games and feel safe. So hopefully this conversation is not over, but we've just got it started. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And let's see, Karen. Karen Liggett.
Karen Leggett, and I've been here a long time, and most of you guys know me. I'm a kids advocate. I'm here for Sam Brannan Park as well. I've been going there off and on for years, and I went there recently about 2 weeks ago, and I started to walk through the park, and then I smelled pot. There was kids 5 feet away from there. And I've been hearing complaints from the homeless that are good homeless that they can't even go there no more. And also, why isn't the homeless liaison there to go ahead and get these people somewhere else to go so the kids can enjoy the park without having to smell pot, cigarettes, drinking, cussing music, and they're partying underneath that thing. And the kids are right there at the park. And these ladies need to be safe playing their game. And I'll bring back the park to the community. Give that back to them, and especially the children, so they can have fun, because they don't have anywhere else to go really here. There's no activity for them. And also, please give the park back to the children. Please. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. I have another speaker card from Mr. Scott Oakes. There he is.
Hello. Yeah, I was going to speak on something other than Sam Brannan, but I am a pickleball player, and they're sugarcoating it. You guys got to tell it like it is. It's a freaking refugee camp there. It is dangerous. Okay, it's really bad. So we had a church group go. I'm in charge of a young people church group, and they'll stay in their cars until someone escorts them to the pickleball courts. That's not right. So can't we have like, I don't know, I'm just thinking out of the box, but can we make a park just for homeless somewhere else? And say, you can't spend time in a public park, and I don't know. But anyway, that's not really. I just wanted to add my 2 cents about that. I've been yelled at. I've had pit bulls come up to me, not attacked, but, you know, it's a little nerve-wracking. So I just thought I'd put my 2 cents in for the pickleballers. But I'm a minor issue. I just have been thinking about this forever.
Can we restart his 3 minutes at this? He's changing topics here.
Sorry. How many topics can I talk about? I got lots of time. So I'll be quick. I just got to I have a meeting at 7, so I got to be quick. But I'm a bike rider. I ride my bike every day in Yuba City around the streets, bike paths, streets, everywhere. Monday through Friday, I ride scooter on Saturday to the farmer's market. My business is motorcycles. I'm on 2 wheels all the time. Have you rescinded the window tinting laws? I mean, it's so dangerous for me as a cyclist. I almost get hit every day. Every day when I ride, I almost get hit every day. I can't see anymore now if they can see me coming. When they're turning left, not at a light, and I'm coming up, I can't see if they're looking at me. And so I'm nervously crossing in front of them, and I've almost been hit almost every day. Are we just letting those go? I mean, I know they're probably thinking they got better things to do than the window tint, but I know all the motorcycle, anybody who's crossing in front of a car and you can't see the person looking at you, someone's going to get hit someday and killed. So I don't know if you guys can answer those questions or not, but it would be nice for public safety and police safety if you can see. And there's people tinting the front windows of their cars now, and you can't even see you can just see a steering wheel. And I know you guys have seen them, but anyway, I just wanted to put I had to say it. Every day when I ride,
Well, I appreciate that. We all do, Mr. Oakes, and you have your police chief and the police leadership standing right behind you, so I guarantee that message has been heard. I would like to give our police chief maybe a brief couple seconds to comment on what's been said today regarding the park, if possible, if you would care to.
All right, there we go. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming up and talking about your concerns with Sam Brannan. We as an organization, we have a lot of different areas in town that require police presence. And so sometimes we can't be everywhere all the time. So we appreciate when folks bring things to our attention and, so we can make the place better. In the last couple of weeks, I've met with several residents and community leaders about the condition of Sam Brannan Park. We could have done better, I think, as an organization in addressing some of these issues. So my commitment to the public is to make that a better place and make that a place to where folks that are there to recreate in a responsible and manner consistent with the use of the park. In the last couple of weeks, probably not quite 2 weeks, we've arrested 7 folks out of there for various violations, drug violations. We've issued many municipal code citations for folks camping in the park. Have increased our patrols to provide more security checks to the park. We've been working with our park staff to address the litter issues. And so the only thing that I ask is if you have an issue, please reach out to me or anybody at the police department. Like I've said before, a lot of times people don't call because we don't want to bother the police. Well, that's what we're here for. We work 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day to respond to the needs of the community, and that's our obligation to you as a community. So if, I talked to Ms. Gregg this afternoon, and she talked about an incident she had about a year ago. No need to get into the details of that, but by all means, call us if you have an interaction with a member of the community that's not there to enjoy the park as the rest of the folks are. So with that, I'll go outside after we get done here, and if anybody has any direct questions for me, I'd be happy to answer those. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Chief. Thank you very much. Any other member of the public care to comment on anything? Consent calendar? All right. Well, actually, consent calendar is now. Consent calendar, all matters listed under consent calendar are considered to be routine and can be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items prior to the time the council votes on the motion unless members of the city council request specific items to be discussed or removed from the consent calendar for individual action. Do we have any comments from the public on consent calendar items 4 through 13? Seeing none, we can have a motion and action.
Through the mayor.
Yes, sir.
Move to ratify items 4 through 13 on the consent calendar.
Second.
I have a first and second to pass or to approve consent calendar items 4 through 13. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All passed unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to business items, number 14, contract with Lincoln Financial Group as BPAS for deferred compensation, section 115, trust plans. And
Through the mayor?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I need to recuse myself from this discussion. There's not a conflict from the city standpoint, but because I'm a financial advisor, there's a professional conflict, so I do need to excuse myself from this and recuse myself.
All right, thank you very much. We'll get you as soon as we're done here.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. I was waiting for a signal. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. Tonight I am presenting the award or the recommendation for the award of the city's 457B deferred compensation in Section 115 trust plans. The city offers these plans as part of a comprehensive package, benefit package for employees to support them in saving for retirement. The deferred compensation plans helps save money for retirement, and then the Section 115 trust plans, if I can get it out, helps employees save money tax-free for healthcare costs. As part of this request for proposal process, the city hired a third-party consultant, Highest Group. I'd like to just acknowledge Ted is attending this meeting virtually. He's from the Highest Group. This is a very complex package to unpack. There's a lot of restrictions that are really outside of human resources area of expertise, and we relied upon Ted to lead this effort for the request for proposal. And so as part of this, he issued a request for proposal, and 9 vendors ended up submitting. The incumbent Mission Square was notified of the RFP process, and the intent was to improve the competitiveness of the plans while focusing on that participant or employee experience. Like I mentioned, there was 9 vendors that provided a response, and there was an evaluation committee that reviewed these responses that were made up of the bargaining unit representatives with TED. Based on the review, there was 4 vendors that were presented to the evaluation committee, and after the presentation, 2 vendors were selected. One of them was Mission Square, the incumbent, and the other one was Lincoln Financial Group. After that final analysis, the bargaining unit group that was, was a part of the review committee selected Lincoln Financial Group. I'd like to point out that Brian Sims is also attending virtually. He's from the Lincoln Financial Group. If awarded by City Council tonight, the Lincoln Financial Group, in addition to competitive pricing, will provide education resources as well as a robust website to support employees investing in their future for retirement. Oh, I got a little behind here. Sorry about that. Oops. There we go. Next steps are to finalize the contract with Lincoln Financial and BPAS. BPAS is the third-party provider for the Section 115 trust plans. After the contracts are finalized, we'll move to communication to employees to advise them of the rolling over the Lincoln Financial Group transition. There will be, during the implementation phase, which is part 3 of the next steps, there would be a blackout period. My understanding is the funds would be stay invested during this time, but there would be a blackout period as funds move from the incumbent Mission Square to Lincoln Financial Group. So the recommendation is to authorize the city manager to finalize and execute these agreements to move to Lincoln Financial Group and BPAS for the city's 457 deferred compensation plan and Section 115 trust plans. At this time, I will take any questions you may have, and I also have Brian, like I said, from Lincoln Financial, and Ted from the Highest Group, if there's any questions beyond my expertise here.
All right.
Through the mayor, thank you for the presentation. You did say something there that just kind of caught my eye, which is probably a very simple question, which is when you say blackout period, that means for that period of time, members of the plan are going to be unable to access their funds, even as a withdrawal?
Yes, correct. That's my understanding. Ted, do you have anything to add to that? Or Brian?
Yeah, I'd probably defer to Brian here as they're the administrator, but in essence, they're getting the plans ready to transfer over, so your funds will remain invested. So just during that blackout period, you're not able to change your allocation or take a distribution or those sorts of things.
So
Yeah, that's right, Ted. And the rationale behind that is Lincoln or any other record keeper receiving the assets just needs clean data. So we don't want someone to be taking a loan when the assets are in transfer from the previous record to Lincoln. So it's pretty standard. It is standard practice when you're changing record keepers, but we expect to minimize that blackout as fast as we can as we coordinate with Mission Square to get the final data.
Okay, I understand that, and that makes sense. I guess the other question is, for those folks who are maybe getting distributions, are those held up as well then?
Brian, can you answer that question? Did you hear it?
Yes, I did. Distributions, would those be held up? Yes, just slightly. However, if they request a distribution prior to the blackout with Mission Square, we will receive that distribution request when we lift the blackout. So we will execute that distribution once we get the data on the Lincoln side. In addition to that, just add in, we'll have a resource of what we call a retirement consultant that will be able to usher any of those, very specific cases. They'll have a direct contact with a retirement consultant dedicated to the Yuba City plan to take care of any of those one-off occurrences to make sure that nothing gets falls through the cracks and that the participant gets the information and whatever they need taken care of once it's lifted out of blackout.
No further questions.
Good ones,
Thank you.
though.
Through the mayor.
Yes, sir.
Sir, this is all covered through the SEC, correct? The requirements of how this is handled? Security Exchange Commission?
Yeah, the SEC really governs the investments.
Okay.
And our firm, as a registered investment advisory, that's who our governing body is.
Okay.
The tax code, it's the IRS for the 457 tax code is the other governing body that's involved in that.
So what I'm getting at is who oversees it? Can you take longer than 7 days as a blackout, or is that not allowed?
Typically, in mechanics, how it works is we say it's up to 15 business days, with the rationale that we don't want to tell participants that it's only going to be a 2-day blackout period and it's longer. So typically, you'll see every record keeper hedge on the side of it's going to take a little longer, 2 to 3 weeks to reconcile all the data. In practice, however, we typically see that 7 days or less. It's just a matter of us getting the final files from Mission Square, reconciling it with the data that we have to ensure that everything's in good order when we see it. So it's a very conservative estimate on the length of the blackout, but it's typically much shorter than what is estimated.
Okay, thank you.
I'll note as well, if I could, that was one of the questions that we provided every vendor in the RFP questionnaire, and they all had a very similar response as far as the time of blackout. It's more or less an operational response from the actual vendor, so there's no IRS or SEC guidelines around that. So it was more of a question that was appended to each vendor.
Great, thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Any comment from the public on this item by chance? No? All right, we have action.
Through the mayor.
Yes, sir.
I move, make sure I get to the right one here.
14.
Yeah. I don't have it.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to finalize and execute agreements with Lincoln Financial Group and MPAS to administer the city's 457B deferred compensation and Section 115 trust plans and other documents necessary for the implementation of these plans and finalize execution 457B deferred compensation and Section 115 trust plan documents.
Second.
Councilmember Kirchner, just to be clear, you said BPS as in Bravo.
Correct.
Correct? Thank you.
All right, I have a first and second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Passes unanimously. Someone can maybe step back and get the vice mayor. We go ahead and move on to item number 15, purchase of 4 Chevrolet Tahoe Pursuit vehicles. Lieutenant Slade, you're up, sir.
Excuse me, could you turn your microphone on, please? Is it on?
Test it.
There you go. Thank you.
So some of the rationale for the purchase is that because of the increased demand, the current fleet vehicle is aging and require replace to meet the operational needs. We have four current vehicles that are needing to be replaced this next fiscal year. And I'll kind of get into why we're trying to get them right now. Some of the operational efficiency is the new Chevy Tahoes will provide better fuel efficiency, lower maintenance cost, and improved performance. The new Chevy Tahoes have better safety and reliability ratings. They're equipped with more modern safety features and are well suited for the demanding conditions of the police department. So at the direction of council last year, we opted to use the state contract organization, which is Winter Chevrolet. They specialize in the Chevy Pursuit Tahoe vehicle. They hold the state contract for Chevy vehicle procurements, which overall saves us cost savings on that. Last year, we saw savings from other bids of upwards of $10,000 per vehicle. And at the discretion of council, that's why we opted to use them again. And the reason why we're seeking the four vehicles currently is because each year, and we don't control this, by Chevy controls when they allocate vehicles. So this year, they've set the date of September to allocate vehicles for the 2025 model. If we don't act on this year's allocations for next year's model, the 25, then we have to wait another full year before we can order a vehicle. They don't allow allocations in the middle of, let's say, January, February to get a 25 model. They have to do it because of the demand of the PPVs and supply chain issues and all these other things that go on now after COVID. They've set these dates. Last year, if council remembers, we had to do it in May. And just for council's knowledge, that we ordered 10 vehicles last year. We still don't have one single vehicle on the road yet. We've received 3 of those 10. 2 of them are still they're waiting for graphics, and the third one's being built, but not one of them has hit the road yet. So some of the financial considerations. So the total cost of all 4 vehicles is roughly $404,620.30. Funding is available in the vehicle replacement fund. I've done a cost breakdown per vehicle. So the Tahoe, the rough estimate that they can give now, because Chevy won't release the actual price of the vehicle until after the vehicles have been allocated. So Winter is bidding high on these, and they did this last year, and we still saved money on their bid from last year. They're estimating around $66,000. The cop shop's average installation cost per vehicle is around $25,430. And for the Sutter Beach communication is $9,722 per radio. And then what we're looking for based on the radios is we used to recycle radios. But because of everything that's changing now and all of natural disasters we respond to all the time, is we run into communication issues with allied agencies, Butte County, just any agency where we do natural disaster mutual aid. With these radios, they're dual band radios, so we're able to switch over to their channels without having to get a radio from them if they have them available. So it's a big safety feature for our officers because they don't have to search for radios and that's only when and if they have radios available to provide to law enforcement. So officer would no longer have to worry about getting a radio from a mutual aid county in order to provide mutual aid and have good communications with that county. So for the recommendations, there's a lot of them. Award the purchase of the 4 Tahoes in the amount of $264,000. Authorize the purchase and installation of the equipment from Cop Shop for $101,720. And authorize the purchase of the 4 APX 8500 all bands radios to Sutter Beach Communication in the estimated amount of $38,890. Some of the alternatives, we just don't purchase the vehicles this year, which basically makes everything else null and void. Or we can look for other vendors to purchase and install the equipment. Traditionally, Cop Shop has been the cheapest because their labor rates are the cheapest. We've tried other vendors in the past. We've tried Lear down in Sacramento, and one, they charge too much, and two, it's a long ways if we have equipment issues to take these vehicles. And then the third alternative is we just don't purchase the 8500s, APX 8500 radios this year.
Questions? Nope.
Through the mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
Commander, are those going to be the only 8,500 radios in the police's use, or are there others already?
So the goal is, council member, is to, as we start to switch over into new vehicles from this point on, regarding the mobile radios in the vehicle, is to ask for these radios each time. As council may be aware that we receive LAMALFA money to do our pack sets or portables, but we only were granted enough to do half of that. So half the officers will have portables that have the all-band capabilities, and then as we slowly start to replace vehicles, we'll replace them with these radios.
All right, good, okay, thank you.
Any public comment on the item? None? All right, we have action.
Through the mayor.
Yep.
I move that we approve items 15A, B, and C, which is the authorized the purchase of the 4 Tahoes, authorized the installation of cop shop, and purchase of the radios.
Second.
I have a first and second to approve staff recommendation A, B, and C. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 16, Bogue Park Playground Replacement Project. Welcome, Ann.
About replacing our playground equipment at Bogue Park. It's to maintain the city's quality of life through safe parks and promote healthy opportunities for residents. So a playground usually has a lifespan of 20 years or so. Bogue Park is 26 years old right now. It does depend on the wear and tear of the park and how much it gets utilized and everything. So that's why Bogue was able to go a little bit longer than some of our other parks. We do have a playground replacement timeline. So Bogue Park is the next park to be replaced. The park staff went out to just assess it and see if how the current situation is and the safety and risk factors of it. And they did determine that it was time to replace the playground. In order to expedite the procurement process, we recommend the Sourcewell Cooperative Program. This is currently what Bogue Park looks like. And this is what the new playground would look like. The fiscal impact is $81,140.61 from our CIP account number 122, which is our annual playground replacement account. The recommendation is to adopt a CEQA Class 2 categorical exemption, award a construction contract to BCI Burke Company in the amount of $81,140.61. And Burke is the same company that we used for Shanghai, and Bogue and Shanghai are in the same neighborhood, so it would be kind of. And then authorize the city manager to execute all necessary documents related to the project. And the alternative would be not to award the Sourcewell contract, but this would result in delays for our project.
All right. Any questions from council, from the public? And we have an action.
Mayor, through the mayor,
Yes.
Move to adopt the resolution which takes the following actions: adopt a CEQA Class 2 category exemption. I'm on the wrong one. Right one. Exemption. Awards construction contract for BCI Burke Company in the amount of $81,140.61 through Sourcewell contract number 01521-BUR. Authorize the city manager to execute all necessary documents related to the project.
Second.
Yeah, but first and second to approve recommended actions A, B, and C. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, ma'am.
Mayor.
Thank you.
As a matter of clarification, that was contract 010521-BUR, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Item number 17, Harter Parkway Corridor Improvement Project. Hello, Ben.
Hey, good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Okay, so the item I have before you is in regards to it's an exciting project, a sewer line. All right. Thank you, Tony. Okay, so good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. So the item before you is in regards to considering the award of the Harter Parkway Corridor Improvement Project. And so really what that is a fancy name for a sewer line, but it's a long time coming. There's a lot of history with this project. It's part of the Harter specific plan. It's designated here in yellow, these yellow segments. We were before you earlier this year where we approved the plans and specifications. We awarded it. Then we, due to some bid irregularities and just the bids not meeting requirements, we rebid the project, and then now we're back to consider award. And so, and then in addition to that, it's also tied into SACOG Greens Means Go grant funding. And so the city coordinated a couple years ago to apply for grant funding that was available to help infrastructure going to housing. And we were successful with that to get about $1.267 million that we're using to help fund the project. And so then to just make it a little bit more complicated, we got a lot of growth going on right now. We're coordinating with D.R. Horton, the local builder, or the national builder that's in town building locally right here. They're starting to grade and put in the utilities for this these 77 homes here in the north, with the park construction wrapping up, and then D.R. Horton finishing up their homes to the south there. So there's a lot going on besides the commercial marketplace with Dutch Brothers and the AMPM happening right now. And so what you have tonight is the rebid. So we went out to bid, 3 bids came back, with the low bid being JPB Design. It's real near our engineer's estimate. I think this, there is a difference you'll see a little bit between the next bid. I will say, with it being a rebid and then with D.R. Horton doing the recent work, that blue segment that was shown on the previous slide, there's a little bit, I hope, awareness with the groundwater and the depth and some of the issues they're going to run into. So I'm hoping that we have a good bid from the low bid contract. And he's bid on this project twice now. So, so estimated construction totals with contingencies, you throw everything in, about 1.5. If we get into our contingency, that SACOG funding is about 1.3, 1.267. And so hopefully we don't use all the contingency, and it's pretty much funded with Green Means Go fund dollars. And so we're hoping to move forward with that, because a key element is, in order to get those homes online, we need to get this work done. And so we're looking to move forward with the project. So with that, the recommendations ABC is to award the construction contract, authorize the finance director to make the necessary budget adjustments, and adopt the CEQA Class 1 categorical exemption. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from council and the public? All right, moving back to council for action.
Through the mayor.
Sir.
Move to move approval of item 17 with items A, B, and C incorporated.
All right. I have a first and second to approve items A, B, and C. By the way, that was Vice Mayor who seconded. Tony, all right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, Ben. Number 18, Sutter Bike Path Gap Closure. Senior Engineer Josh Wolf.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Thank you for having me tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about the Sutter Bike Path Gap Closure, approval and plans, specs, and estimate. So the Sutter Bike Path Gap Closure, here's an exhibit of it. Basically, what we're planning on doing is extending the current Sutter Bike Path where it ends at Hooper Road and building a bike path on the north side of Jefferson Avenue along the canal over to and connecting to Dedar Baines Park, and then constructing a 10-foot sidewalk on the west side of Harter Parkway from Butte House Road, and connecting into and upgrading Caltrans ADA ramp down here. The reason there's a section missing is development occurred at Harter Marketplace, and as part of their conditions of approval, they constructed that portion of 10-foot sidewalk. So here are a couple pictures of existing conditions along Jefferson Avenue and Harter Parkway. Jefferson Avenue, it's going to be an 8-foot wide asphalt concrete bike path. There's going to be some trees along the side of the road, a bit of drainage infrastructure that will be going into the canal. And then along Harter Parkway, it's going to be a concrete 10-foot wide sidewalk that was designed to meet the ultimate build out of Harter Parkway. So we made sure that it's designed such when it goes in, as development occurs, it doesn't need to be reconstructed to fit with the ultimate build out. Background on the project, in 2019, we received $153K from the Active Transportation Program for the project design. In 2021, we awarded the project design to Dock and Engineering of Folsom, California. Then in 2021 as well, we were awarded about $1.9 million from Regional Surface Transportation / Surface Transportation Block Grant Program for the construction portion of the project. And in 2024, project environmental, right-of-way, and design were complete, so the project is now ready to bid. Going back, these are some typical sections, kind of what I described earlier, what Jefferson Avenue and Harter Parkway will look like once project is complete. So our timeline moving forward is we're hoping to advertise the bid September of 2024. In October, we would award. Fall and winter, we would have construction beginning. Depending on how wet the winter is, construction can go through the winter. If it is a wet winter again, we'll have a pause in construction and pick it back up in the spring, and then having project completion in spring of 2025. For fiscal impact, we're estimating currently about $1.7 million in construction funds for the project, with a 10% contingency and 2.5% funding for CM and inspection. Just to note, there was a clerical error in the staff report that I updated in this presentation. The 10% contingency is actually $168,000, whereas the staff report mentioned $190,000. So just wanted to correct that at this point. With that, our recommendation is adopting a resolution adopting the CEQA Class 4 categorical exemption, approving the plans and specifications, and authorizing advertisement for bids on the Sutter Bike Path Gap Closure Project. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Questions from council on this item?
Comment, but not a question.
Sure, go ahead.
I've just thanked staff, those involved with getting the grants for this. I know this is an area in the northwest portion of the city that I've certainly received plenty of comments about when is the bike path going to be connected and when are we going to get a sidewalk? And I don't mean that to be disparaging. It's just that it's been a long process, and I really am encouraged and thankful for the work the staff has done to bring this project forward.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Okay. Member of the public, you care to comment? All right, we have action, please.
Mayor?
Yes.
Make a motion to adopt a resolution adopting a CEQA Class 4 categorical exemption, approving the plans and specifications, and authorizing advertisement for bids for the Sutter Bike Path Gap Closure Project.
Second.
Have a first and second to approve recommended action. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Josh.
Thank you.
Moving right along to number 19, Citywide Signal Hardware Upgrades. Welcome back, Public Works and Development Services Director, Ben Moody.
So here's another fun one. This is actually a fun one for me. I don't know if anybody else cares. But it's a visible project. And so this is a signal hardware upgrade project. And really what that means, we got an HSIP grant, so it's a highway safety grant, a little over $1 million to do this. And you see this kind of as you've been driving across California lately, that they're turning those back plates on the signals to yellow. And so we received this improvement grant, and one of the pet peeves that I love that this is taking care of is that besides doing the yellow and making all the heads now, make sure that they're all 12-inch, make sure the reflective tape is that we're gonna clean up and finish the rest of the city with the bird and the logo so they match. And so that's kind of one of my bucket list items I've been trying to get across for a while. So I'm looking forward to that. And so really what you're looking at is I'm requesting tonight to approve the plans and specs and authorize us to put us out to bid for a project that does what this is across the remaining city signals and including Caltrans state signals. We're partnered with Caltrans on this. So here's the signals. 35 out of the 38 city and 18 out of the 18 state in the city limits is what this project will deal with. Each one's a little bit different. You know, you go to Gray Avenue and Butte House, there's some of these small 8-inch signals that we're going to replace. And some of the signs are set up in different places. So each one's a little bit different, but really it's putting that reflective tape and fixing the illuminated street name sign. So we're looking to advertise in September, contract award in October, construction fall through the winter, and hopefully done in the spring. And the bid estimate is approximately $800,000. With the grant awards, we have, it was 2 different grants that were combined. And so we have 571 available for the city portion and 510 for the Caltrans portion. We think we're going to be on mark for about how that bid lands, that maybe the city's going to use all of theirs. Maybe we're a little lighter on the Caltrans, but depending on how the bids come in, we can maybe shift some of those buckets of money to cover it. And we'll break that down when we come back to recommend award. And so with that, I'm looking for the adoption of a resolution to approve the CEQA and authorize the advertisement for bids. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Any comments from or questions from council? Pretty self-explanatory. How about the public? All right, we can bring it back for action.
Through the mayor.
Sir.
Move to accept item 19, adopt a resolution adopting a CEQA Class 1 categorical exemption, approving plans and specifications, and authorizing advertising for bid for the citywide signal hardware upgrade project 24-09.
Second.
I have a first and second to approve recommended action. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nothing. Thank you, sir. Moving on, number 20, Medical Priority Dispatch System, and welcome Fire Chief Jesse Alexander.
Good evening, everyone, Mayor, council members. I'm here tonight to talk to you about Medical Priority Dispatch System, but throughout the rest of the presentation, I'll just reference it as Priority Dispatch. This is a software that interfaces with our computer-aided automatic aided dispatch, also known as CAD, which allows for us to categorize and prioritize emergency medical calls. This system assesses the severity of medical incidents and determines what resources need to be dispatched. This is an accepted part of pre-hospital care and can significantly impact patient outcomes. How medical priority dispatch works. It initiates a list of vital questions that can be asked by dispatch, and based upon the response to those questions, it will determine a level of response from a highest priority, which is an echo, down through Delta, Charlie, Bravo, and the lowest priority at Alpha. So an example of how they break this down in regards to like a drowning or near drowning. An Alpha incident would be possible drowning, but the person is alert, breathing normally with no injuries and is out of the water. A Bravo call would be they're alert and breathing, but they possibly have injuries or are still in the water. A Charlie is alert with abnormal breathing. Delta is unconscious, underwater, suspected neck injury, or not alert. And then an echo is a cardiac arrest. So that kind of shows you how it breaks down just on one type of incident. The benefits of priority dispatch increases the quality and priority of information, records medical aid calls based on acuity, accurately and consistently prioritizes events based on information gathered. What a big fan like Ben was excited about the last one. This is what I'm excited about. I'm a big data guy, and allows us, YCFD, staff to analyze call data for opportunities to make operational improvements. That's something I'm always excited about. And it reduces risk and potential cost savings. Currently, our dispatch center, also known as our Public Safety Answering Point, or PSAP, has trained emergency medical dispatchers that are required to be part of priority dispatch. So they have that baseline training. Their current system is a manual cards that require dispatchers to reference and does not provide the opportunity to record emergency medical calls based on acuity. So it does not give us that data that we'd be looking for. Currently, YCFD's medical call volume, we're running about 61% of our total call volume as emergency medical incidents. And then you can see here over the past 3 years, we're right about 7,000 calls a year out of our 11,000 call volume. Fiscal impact for implementing this, the initial cost to purchase was ProQA, which is a priority dispatch software that's utilized and vetted throughout the nation, is $113,102. This includes software license, training, and implementation support. The ongoing cost after that is $13,310. Staff proposes to utilize salary savings from the communications division of the police department to fund the upfront cost of $113,102. Recommendation is to adopt a resolution awarding the purchase of medical priority dispatch system of ProQA to Priority Dispatch of Salt Lake City, Utah in the amount of $113,002 with the finding that it is the best interest of the city. Alternative is to not proceed with implementing medical priority dispatching at this time and recommend that staff submit a request as part of the 25-26 fiscal year budget process. Do I have any questions?
Questions from council? No? Public? All right. Back for action, please. Whichever one of you want to.
Sure. Through the mayor, I move that we adopt a resolution awarding the purchase of the medical priority dispatch system, ProQA, to Priority Dispatch of Salt Lake City, Utah, in the amount of $113,102, with the finding that's in the best interest of the city, and I think it'll be a great asset to our fire department.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. We have a first, we have a second now, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we are good to go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to last item, number 21, the 2024 Nagar Kirtan Sikh Parade. And you're on here as a president, or?
The ad hoc is presenting.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. So what we have, Fire Chief, would you have anything to say on the status of the ad hoc committee? Or from your perspective, we would have a question on how things are going from your end. I know we've been meeting regularly with the president of the Terrabuena Temple. Myself and Vice Mayor Shaw have been meeting regularly, getting updates directly from him. He was invited tonight. I don't see him in the audience, but I would be interested to know, as this event is continued to be planned for, it's a major event, most major event in the entire city, has an effect, arguably, on the entire city for several days. And so we have definitely an interest in keeping it as safe as possible, operation as smoothly as possible, as efficiently as possible. And that's where we rely on your expertise as well as the expertise of our police chief in conjunction with the other jurisdictions to make that happen. So we would very much be interested in knowing your perspective on how things are going on your end.
So just for perspective, this is a significant event. To put it in perspective, think of taking the population of Roseville and bringing them into the community on an event. So there's a lot that goes into that, requiring planning, logistics, and a complete ICS structure. At this time, as part of our special event permitting process, we have a baseline permit submitted, but there are significant and very important components that have been outlined that are still missing from that application, that make it challenging for us to complete the planning process.
I know we had a list based on your expertise that we had submitted. I don't recall the specific number of items on that list, and I know that Vice Mayor and I were present at a meeting with the president of the temple along with several members of his board where he held up the list and said we are going to do this, and we agreed to those deadlines that were established ahead of time, and this is a couple months ago at least. Would you mind going through the list of items and give us a status on those and the appropriate due date, if any?
There was 19 items on there. Don't want to go through and list them all at this time, but the only one that we have definitive component on is the permit application. The rest, especially some of the bigger items we have outstanding that have missed that deadline, are the traffic plan, security plan, parking plan, shuttle plan, and some ancillary items on there also. But those are the big ones.
So when was the last deadline that we had agreed upon that had passed?
5th of August.
August 5th. Okay. Thank you very much. Chief.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So we have, our traffic, Sergeant Williams actually, and his replacement, Sergeant Krause and Lieutenant Bullard, have been meeting with the representative from the temple and a private entity that they have contracted with to provide traffic control. They have told us that they will have that plan in final form within the next 2 weeks. So we're anxiously awaiting that to make sure that we can have a safe parade route, have the neighborhoods, the businesses that are impacted by the large influx of people and vehicles into our community. So we know what we're going to be facing that day. Part of the things that we control is the city. I know that it was discussed and kind of a goal of the council is to have local only parking in the area from Hooper Road west to Madison and then north of Butte House Road from defined set of hours that Friday before the parade, that Saturday, and then also on Sunday. That neighborhood is historically, I don't want to say shut down because people can get passes, and I'll talk about the process we're going to go about that this year. And that's primarily for the bus route. The buses only work well if you have a dedicated route for them and they're not having to stop at stop signs and stop for pedestrians and stop for traffic. It just doesn't, it makes it an inefficient mode of transport for those folks trying to get up to the temple and to view the parade. So this year, that's going to happen. That's going to be staffed on Friday and Saturday with members of the Yuba City Police Department. We're going to have a realistic approach to this. We're not going to be out there, with, telling people they cannot pass if they're trying to get to their grandmother's 75th birthday party. We'll use a common sense approach and get folks to where they need to be, understanding that this is a significant event that benefits many facets of our community. We're not alone in this approach to shut down, I shouldn't say shut down, but limit access to neighborhoods. They were very successful with this over in Napa with Bottle Rock, and they saw a great deal of a far better impact than when they did nothing. So the plan this year is to go door to door with an information pamphlet, or not even a pamphlet, just a sheet of paper, and passes for each resident out there, and talk to them if we can, and provide them the information if they need passes. If a grandmother's having a 75th birthday, they can come to the police department and we can get them the passes that they need for their family to be together over those 3 days. So that's kind of the big takeaway that's a little bit different this year than what's been in the years past. We're still working with some of the private businesses to come up. There were some concerns brought up about folks attending the parade and overrunning or monopolizing local smaller businesses parking lots to where patrons couldn't access those businesses on Sunday specifically. That's still a work in progress, and I hope to have something to report back to the ad hoc here in the upcoming weeks as to a solution to that. So that's a little bit tougher of a problem for a variety of reasons.
Sure. All right. Thank you very much. Vice Mayor, care to make any comments?
Yeah, it's been a long process, and thank you guys and all of your teams for everything thus far. I remember a year ago we were sitting here and having these conversations, and we were, 7 days out from the event, and we're having these now and these updates, and we're still a few months out, so definitely on the front side of this. The other thing that I want to convey to the council, I know, Mark, this has been a concern of yours because of District 2 and a lot of the feedback we've had from people out there is not only concerning the residential area out there off of Hooper and stuff and trying to divert some of the traffic and limit that, but also how it impacts the businesses and such. And so I know from day one, conversations that the mayor and I have had has been trying to get the traffic out of the city and utilize Eager Road coming in from the north off the highway to come down to the temple versus clogging up Butte House Road, as that's, if you try to get there Friday or Saturday or Sunday and you're on that road, you might as well just wait because you're going to be there 3 hours to get a mile. So again, confirming what the chief said, the mayor and myself was with the president of the temple, had the same question. He brought the company right up on the phone and they confirmed that, and they said he was shooting for a couple of weeks to have that because they had just got the information. So we're working towards all those 19 items as hard as we can, and looking forward to getting us there.
It's important that we know that we had these meetings and we had the list of items and we had some agreed upon deadlines. The intent being to get a firm plan, a mutually approved plan in place this year, and it still is that intent. So we can do plug and play and change the dates from here on out. For whatever reasons, it depends on who you talk to. There's different reasons why the deadlines haven't been met. But it's important that we have that because there's a reason for those, because that's just to get the plan approved, and then we have to have people who have to sit down and implement the plan, and that takes time. And we don't want to paint ourselves into a corner to where we're not, next thing you know, we're doing things kind of half-baked. And that's the last thing we want, particularly when we have the safety of our community at stake and at risk if we don't have an adequate plan and the communication isn't out there and gone out there. So our hope is, even though, yes, we have this one deadline has passed, we're going to continue conversations. I'm not sure how more clearly I could have stressed the importance to the president of the temple, but we will continue to do so. He is stressed to both of us that he will get things done and get it done on time. Well, not on time, but get it approved as soon as possible. Hopefully that date comes soon. If it does not, I'm going to ask my fellow council members to consider the fact and the very real possibility we might have to make tough decisions regarding the permit process and the approval of that permit. Having said that, I don't. Anybody have any comment that we'd like to say?
Yeah, I just thank you to both chiefs for trying to navigate through this sort of collection of trying to make this event safe. I think there's nobody that wants to harm. I'll call it an event anymore. It's really not a parade because it's a 3-day event that includes a parade. But at the same time, doing our due diligence, knowing what's going on in other places when things go a bit chaotic, and then all of a sudden, then people are going to ask us, why you knew about this, why didn't you do something? And so for me, it's important to try to get out there, and I appreciate the ad hoc committee for the efforts they've put forth. I know that it's been also a bit stressful because you're getting responses and information from all of us. My district, and I hate to get into districts, but my district is District 2, which is the northwest portion of the city. And it is not that the city isn't impacted as a whole, but it is pounded by this event when they have 100 or 200,000, who knows what the real number is. And the notion that, and I say this with respect, that it brings in enough revenue to cover everything. Tell that to the small business person that can't open their restaurant because their employees can't park in their own parking lot, or the patrons can't get into the grocery store because they can't park in the grocery store. And that's on the business, on the commercial side, and on the residential side. I can't, you can't get into the 75-year-old grandma's birthday party, or heaven forbid, we have an echo event in one of those areas, and we can't get our friends from Bi-County and or our own emergency services in there. So, I think that this is going to be a step-by-step process. It's not going to be overcome in 1 year. However, it sounds like you're making some incremental changes, and I hope that the Temple leadership understands where we're coming from. I know you have articulated it, but I hope that they feel as passionate about protecting the public as we do. And I think I'll leave it right there.
Very good. Thank you. Elmer? Yes, sir.
Thanks for acknowledging that we will, if we need to, make the tough decisions. I think people need to be made aware of that. And I have no problem making tough decisions, and I will. So with that, I relinquish my
Thank you.
comment.
Anything, sir?
Through the mayor.
Yep.
I would like to thank staff, chiefs, for putting the time, and the ad hoc for putting the time and energy into this. Chief, I just want to clarify, and you went through it earlier, but just to be clear, one of the differences between last year and this year is that Hooper from Butte House north will be closed to anybody with the exception of residents during this time period.
Yeah, it'll have a nice sign that says local resident only or local traffic only. From Friday, I don't have the times in front of me, but I think midday Friday till like 11 o'clock on Friday night. And then Saturday is a little bit earlier in the day, just because the so many folks try and get up to the temple on Saturday for all the events and festivities that are going on. So it'll be closed from around 8 a.m. until, again, 10 or 11 o'clock. And then on Sunday, as keeping with past tradition, it'll be shut down by 6 a.m. Until the last bus is headed southbound on Hooper Road.
Thank you. The next question, this is probably for the ad hoc. What was discussed about parking on Highway 20?
We have not discussed.
Yep.
A little
Yeah,
bit.
we did. We talked about it a little bit. Number one, it's, in our opinion, it's unacceptable and it's dangerous, but it was pointed out that is also, and I believe it was in one of the very first meeting we sat down, that is a public highway and it is permitted, but they were going to kind of check with Caltrans, but we are doing everything we can to discourage that. And part of what we've done is talk with the Temple president. They have got to get advertising out and the word out as far as where to park. And we are working behind the scenes trying to get additional dirt parking over near River Valley to try to keep them off of Highway 20. But at the end of the day, I think we were told there's only so much we can do. And Chief, I would defer that to you because I believe that's what was said is you can park along a highway, but there's only so much control. Am I correct with that?
There's a lot of nuances that go along with parking your car on a 60-mile-an-hour shoulder of a highway. But yeah, we'll work with Caltrans as part of our encroachment permit package because we already have to get encroachment permits for shutting down Harter and 20 to see if we can work with Caltrans that either they provide the barricades with the no parking signs to remind people it's not a good idea to park on a shoulder of a highway. Or we can have our public works, they're out in full force that day, aid us in that as well. So that issue, I think, can be solved relatively easily.
Could I elaborate on that? Some of these questions could be remedied through some of these plans we established, like a comprehensive traffic plan that identifies the number of parking lots, how they're identified, the number of vehicles in each parking lot, how many attendees are in each parking lot, and how you direct when those get full to other alternative parking sites. That way we know how many vehicles can come to this event and properly park in sanctioned parking lot areas. So that is the concern. And I know that there's a question that continuously gets asked of us, what keeps you up at night? I'm gonna be blatantly honest. This event keeps me up all year long because there are best practices and industry standards, and People expect to show up to an event like this and be able to call 911, be able to be in a safe environment, be able to be picked up, transported to the hospital in a timely fashion. And yes, I want to make sure that we are meeting those conditions.
Well, that question is the perfect example of why it's so important to have a traffic plan and all of these plans in place.
Through the mayor, if I could add
Yes,
something,
ma'am.
please. So this year, the other thing that we've done different was we've hired an event coordinating company called Blistering Pace Race Management, who manages large-scale public participation events. The intent of hiring them is to make them the lead on some of the coordination efforts so that it's not staff that's having that interaction. It's them that's determining the resources that are available, the resources that are required, and then using their contacts to be able to assist. The other thing that I've asked of Chief Alexander, the temple is located in the county. It's not located within the city. The reason that the city's involved is because it's within the CSAG fire service area. And so my challenge to Chief Alexander has been, from the city's perspective, our responsibility is fire and life safety within that area. And so recognizing all of the things that Chief Alexander coordinates, what I've asked is that the coordination committee reevaluate how these items are addressed so that it's better proportioned based upon whose responsibility it is to cover those specific areas. And so in the future, I would anticipate that there's going to be changes in terms of the city's participation of some of the planning activities specifically at the temple, and it'll be focused on the fire service. And then within the city, it would be the focus of PD and fire to assure that the city residents are taken care of. And, why do I bring this up? Because of what Chief Alexander just said in terms of this keeping him up at night. And it is an event in which we want to make sure that the public's safe, but we also recognize that we're a long way from where we need to be. And I want to limit the city's responsibility and liability in this to what we are responsible and liable for. And I feel like we've had scope creep over the last couple of years. And so as you hear discussions over the next couple of months where I'm asking Chief Alexander to rein back, this is a person that is very professional. He wants to, I called him a perfectionist. He didn't like it. He disagreed with me, but he is. And he wants to set a very high standard, but I'm asking him to peel that back. And what is it that we need to provide and make sure that we can provide that, but let's not overextend.
Through the mayor.
Quick question. The scope creep is a good term. I've been a victim of that myself. At what point does our role, what is our role in fire safety, medical aids, but does he play a role in the fire code violations, if any?
Yes. I should let Chief Alexander respond.
Yes, sorry about that, yeah.
That is correct.
Okay, so that would be in addition to everything else, okay.
Yes.
So we can probably discuss in one of our other meetings or somewhere where the stepping back or scaling back, how that would look like. So is that, are our friends at the county or whomever else, are they aware of that position yet, or is that tomorrow?
Belize, as of 30 seconds ago, they're just finding this out, but we do have a planning meeting
Whoever's
tomorrow.
watching it, huh?
Yes.
Okay, all right, perfect. Looking forward to more. You have more?
Through the mayor.
You have more too, okay.
I just wanted to reiterate, because it started with something that Mark said, where he said, it's we've improved, but we got a long ways to go. And then as Diana said, as we're looking at things and how did you get, what was it, creep?
Scope creep.
Scope creep. We're finding all these things. And what the mayor and I has noticed with this, and the nice part about injecting ourselves into this several months ago, quite honestly, this is a learning curve for everybody, for our agencies, for the county, and for the temple. But we all have one main focus, and that is the safety. And I know that you guys, it's paramount. Chief, I see it all over you all the time because you care so passionately about what you do and the safety of this community. And I thank you for that because I know that you've got the interest of our citizens. This is a learning experience, and that's partially why we went, the August 5th, we did everything we could to meet that. But you know what? We're further along than we were, and I'd rather take a little bit longer time and get it right. Because at the end of the day, what we sat down with the temple leadership is it's got to be a safe event, period. There's been too much craziness go on in this world, and it's got to be a safe event. And where you guys were talking about the roads, I remember distinctly at that very first meeting, there was an argument. That's how it kind of starts. With, oh no, there wasn't 300,000, there was 200,000, there was 100,000, no, there was 50,000. I eventually looked across the table at this particular person and said, you know what? I don't care if it was 25,000 people. If you'd have had a heart attack at the corner of Butte House and Terra Buena, you're dead because nobody could get to you. And I had to let that sink in for a few minutes. So that's how we've really approached it on our end. And it is a learning curve, but we got to get this right, guys.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up with this is and I don't want to agendize items forward, but would it be appropriate for the next council meeting or a month from now to have a follow-up discussion on this topic?
It is my intent to agendize it every meeting until we're done.
All right, thank you.
Yep. All right. Any member of the public? Make the city attorney happy, I'll ask. Nothing? All right, that for information. Chiefs, thank you both very much for everything you're done and probably are about to do in the next few months. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Future agenda items, opportunity to discuss city manager about items that came up in the meeting this evening that you would like to have brought back to council at a later date. Any comments?
Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I would like to see something about the Sam Brennan situation. It's in my district, and I had a very lengthy conversation with one of our speakers tonight, and I think that's of the utmost importance for not only my district, but the community as well.
Very good, thank you. Anything else? Any member of the public want to comment on that? All right. On to reports and communications. The following reports and communication items are provided for the council's information. No action can be taken on the items under this section unless the council agrees to include it on a subsequent agenda. City manager.
So first of all, I'd like you to look behind you at our new seal. I don't know if anybody noticed that.
I did.
So thank you to Sierra for coordinating getting the new seal up there. I think it looks very nice. And then also just want to thank the police department's coordination of National Night Out. I'm sure you all will report on it. It was very, very hot, and it has prompted a further up discussion about having a specific Yuba City Night Out in which we will schedule it for a cooler time of year. And so the police department will coordinate as to how we shift it within the year. But, residents are welcome to celebrate National Night Out. It's just that we will be creating an event outside of the first Tuesday of August. So thank you.
And thank you. City council reports. We'll begin with Councilmember Boomgarden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I appreciate that concern about moving the date. It just seems like it's boiling hot, and by the time we get out there, folks are pretty sweaty. So I do want to thank the PD, the lead agency on National Night Out. Got to go to about, like you all did, 7 or 8 different spots and interact with the community, and I think it's a great opportunity to receive some feedback, and actually got some feedback. As Councilman Kirchner knows, up there in the Hooper Road area. So it's all good. Attended a SACOG funding group meeting. I think I'll defer to to the mayor. He's the board member. He can talk about what happened at the SACOG meeting. I went to a ribbon cutting at Headlines. It's an awesome little, I guess a spa is what you would call it, down in the south end of the city. And they were very appreciative of the city staff and what they had done to try to get them open. I attended a Sutter Buttes Flood Control Agency meeting. It was a pretty short meeting, but they continue to do a lot, and they're moving forward. Probably the biggest thing, and I know Councilman Kirchner has been very instrumental in this, is dealing with this the island and the sediment. So I'll let him speak more about that. And I'm looking forward to attending a high school football game on Friday night, where I anticipate Yuba City smearing Marysville.
Go Honkers. Go Big Brown. You bet, baby.
Well, you're up, brother.
I'm up, okay. Thank you, Mayor. Okay, we'll start with, we had back-to-back Gil Sizer meetings canceled. Mosquito, Mosquito District, we approved the defined benefit plan. There's 2 human cases in Yolo County, 1 human cases in Yolo County, 1 in Butte County. We had the manager assessment. Transit is moving forward with the next gen transit plan. There's going to be a public hearing to get the public's 2 cents set for September 19th on proposed fare and local service charges, and so the public is asked to participate in that. Feather River Air Quality, they had a budget adjustments for 23-24 because of the PG&E that we're all paying more for nowadays. We received the auditor's independent report for 2023-2024. There were no changes, and then the adoption of the final budget. With Sabufka, one of the things that came out was that the NOAA fisheries grant was not accepted. That was an attempt to take advantage of the permits that we have until 26 to remove the sediment in the Feather River, to clear up the river. And so we're still looking for more funding opportunities for that. What did come out of the meeting that surprised me was I'm sure everyone's heard about all the money that the Yuba County Water Agency, the Yuba Water Agency is spending on salmon rehab projects up and down the lower Yuba. There's discussion about having a similar project. It would be, if you're familiar where Mosquito Beach is in Yuba City, so from essentially that point through the Shanghai Bend area. And so that was news to me, so more information to follow. That's kind of exciting because I think it would help out some of the challenges that we're having down there. National Night Out was a moderate success. It was warm. I'm glad that there is a consideration to change it to a cooler time of year. I did have the opportunity to be with PD that night, and we did go by San Brandon Park, and I was blown away by what I saw. But I know that the city is doing its best to come to a solution to that problem. I attended the 25th annual stand down at the Yuba City Fairgrounds. That was well attended. Congressman Kiley was there, Congressman LaMaffa, and we're there to support our veterans, and so I was proud to be there. Yeah, yesterday we had our Measure D kickoff party over at City Cafe, and that's just getting out the word about Measure D. And I did attend the headlines ribbon cutting, and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor. Other than thanking my compatriot here for covering me for being out of state for the Air Quality Control Board, I have nothing more to report.
Vice Mayor.
And he's concise.
I like that.
That's it. A lot of the same things we've all been at. First of all, to PD, thank you, Chief, to everybody over there, National Night Out. was a sweaty success. I will give it that. But it's great watching all of your team come together and let us be a part of that throughout the city. So looking forward to more of the nights out when we get those redone. Headlines, great doing that ribbon cutting and celebrating their success, because that's not a new business. That's an expansion of a business here in our city. Attended the stand down, which will transition right into tonight. We had the Colonel here. We had a reception prior. Tony, thank you for everything you did to set that up for us. That was awesome. And thank you to our community, making Beale feel very welcome in our community, and look forward to a lot of great things with Colonel McLeese coming in, that we're going to be strengthening more relationships and having more and more things with Beale. The only thing to add to transit is, even though the hearing is on the 19th, if you can't make the actual day, you can submit public comments right now directly to transit for that night on the topic of the public hearing there. And RWMA is still pressing forward with the recruitment, so no news yet. So that's all I've got to report, sir.
All right, very good.
Through the mayor?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a clarification. The event that I attended the other night was hosted by Friends of Measure D. Thank you.
Friends of Measure D. All right. Similar to Councilmember Pasquale, things have already been mentioned, like Councilmember Kirtan mentioned, Gil Sizer was canceled. We've already talked about the ad hoc committee meetings regarding the parade. Regarding SACOG, we approved the funding round mechanism for SACOG gives out money to all these different jurisdictions, and so we're in the process of approving the funding round, how that is determined. There's always criteria every year that we go through, and we agree upon that and establish that, and we'll have 2 opportunities next year in 2025 to make that happen. We also had a presentation from the state regarding the mandated greenhouse gas emissions reduction goals that they are imposing. Some of you have described those as unrealistic and unobtainable, but we are nevertheless obligated to try, and that would affect if a certain project does not have things in place to recognize and hopefully come within striking distance of achieving those goals. They do risk denial of funding. So it's a never-ending challenge. We're all in the same boat, though, down there. Long discussions about that. And that summarizes that. And I don't have anything else unless anybody else does. We will stand adjourned, and we'll see you all in 2 weeks. Or hold on 1 second. I would want to say also with we had a member of our community recently passed away who was very dear to me. He gave me a start in my career in public safety. That's Mr. Kelly Bumpus, who was one of the founding members of Bi-County Ambulance Service and a developer and all kinds of things in this community. And it's my honor to close this council meeting tonight in Kelly Bumpus's memory. Thank you all very much.